Okay, no queries in the last session. So let me increase the font size so that it will be clearly visible to you. Okay, so in the last session we have discussed about the modules and packages in the Python. So that was very important topic in order to create the modular programming in Python. Basically, we started with writing simple script, basic script in a one single file, and at the end we have created multiple .py files, and we have integrated all those .py files in one single file, that is main.py. And that was very interesting and very much powerful technique to manage your Python code. And I have suggested that you should use the same technique while creating your project. So you will be creating your project with the help of multiple .py files, and you will integrate all those py files using this modular programming approach. In this lecture we are going to discuss about two important topics. One is file handling in Python, and other one is error handling in Python. So as far as the file handling in Python is concerned, I am relating that to opening some file, maybe txt file, csv file, or any other file in your Python environment, then reading the content from that file, sometimes writing data to that file, or sometimes deleting that file automatically through Python command or using some Python code. So that's what we are going to discuss in today's session. These few things. Okay, I think it was disconnected. Now it should be clear. Okay, so in today's session, we'll try to create some files using Python command. We'll try to manipulate those files. We'll try to write some content in that file. We'll try to read some data from those files. We'll also try to delete those files automatically using some Python code. So all about file handling, and that will be very much useful in future. So in future, if you want to create automatic some files, if you want to store some data to the file, some reports to those files, then that will be very much easy using these simple Python codes. Now, as far as the file handling in Python is concerned, now very first thing is that what is file? So file is anything that stores some data. It will have some data. And very first thing that we're going to discuss is all about opening a file. So if I am already having some file in Python, I'll discuss how to open that file. Now, in order to open that file, let's say if I create a file, so from this I'll create a file here. So here, let's say I create demo.txt file. Okay, now this is my txt file, demo.txt file, and in this particular file, or this particular file, I'm going to read or open in my Python environment. So here I'll put some content in this file. Let's say I put let's say hello Python, something like this. This will be there some content in that file, and I want to load that file and read content from that file in my Python environment. Now there are various modes to open that file. Now firstly I want to open that file. So now first objective is file opening. So basically we are going to discuss number of things. First of all, how to open the file in Python. Secondly, how to read the content from that file, how to create or write content into the file, and how to delete the file. So there are 4 to 5 different methods or the techniques that we are going to apply on different files that we'll create in Python, and we'll try to handle those files using some Python functions. Now, very basic function is the open function. Now, this is the function that will read the file or open the file in Python environment. Now, how to do this? Now, it will be just like this: f equals to, or any variable name. So this is for this time I'm giving f as a name. but it can be anything. It can be any file name or anything. If you want any other name, you can give. So right now I'm giving f as a name, and then you will have to specify path of a file. So now in this case, here it is demo.txt, that's the file. Even the main.py, that's the file. So I'll use this demo.txt. Okay. And then this is the file name. And then here you will have to specify the mode. Okay. Right now I'm not writing mode as a, but you should write some mode over here. Okay. And what can be the mode? There are total 4 different modes as far as the file opening is concerned. So here as a comment, I'll put up all those things, or otherwise at the beginning, I'll try to create all those modes. Oh, sorry. Number one mode is R. Okay. This mode is called as read mode. And in this particular case, it will open file for reading. And if file does not exist, it will raise an error. Okay. If the file is not there, then in that case it will raise an error. So it is read mode, which is default mode. If you do not specify any mode, automatically it will assume that you are opening this file in read mode. So right now if I write f equal to open demo.txt, that means in the mode variable or in the second argument I'm not passing anything. So that means by default it is R. Okay. So even if I specify here like this R, and even if I do not specify this thing, the meaning is same. Okay. And this is actually equivalent to, if you do not write like this is actually equivalent to like this. If you do not specify this mode, this is also okay. Okay. So both the things are same. If you specify this R, that means it's read mode. If you do not specify that mode, this is again the read mode only. The second mode is write mode. As usual, it's a read and this is write. So in this case, it will open file for writing, and it will create file if file does not exist. In case of read mode, what will happen? It will automatically raise an error if the file does not exist. If there is no file, it will say that there is an error. And in case of write mode, if the file does not exist, it will not raise any error. It will create that file. For example, if I try to open demo.txt, and unfortunately that file is not available in my folder. So in case of read mode, it will simply raise the error that the file does not exist. And in case of write mode, if the file is not there, it will simply create that file. It will create that file and it will open that for writing. And the next is the append mode A. This is called as append mode. So as the name suggests, it is append mode. So it will append data to that file. Okay. And if the file does not exist, in that case it will create that file. If file does not exist, it will create that file. So simply using a mode, it will open the file for appending, and if file is not there, it will create that file. Only read mode will not create the new file. And the last mode is X. This mode is called as create mode. This is create mode. This will create a specified file. So whatever name you will give, that name will be created, or that file name, or the file with that name will be created. And if there is already a file by the same name, in that case it will raise an error. Okay. As far as the create mode is concerned, whatever name you will give, for example, open demo.txt, and if you specify X as a mode, in that case it will create that file. But if the file is previously created, it is already there, then create mode will raise an error that the file cannot be created as it is already there. So I can't create the new file. So now we'll discuss all these stuff one by one. So what's the meaning of R, W, A, and X? Everything we'll discuss step by step. Now, very first thing, that if this is the demo.txt is the file which is present already there in your folder, then only you can use the read mode. If this is not there, if it is not present in your folder, you will not be able to use read mode. Automatically it will raise the error if you try to use its mode. For example, I first of all I'll use this using R, and absolutely there is no error. So absolutely there is no error over here. If you, even if I do not specify this R, the meaning is one and same. Again there is no error, the file is successfully opened. Okay, now this is all about the read mode. But if I delete this file, so let delete this file. Now there is no file in the folder. Now we'll try to open this file. Now in this case it will raise the error that it is error to file not found error. That means there is no such file or directory by the name demo.txt. So that's the problem with read mode. Even if you pass the read argument or this one, this is nothing but the mode. Again, we'll get the exact same error. Okay, that the file does not exist. It's not there in that particular folder. So this is how the read mode will operate. In future, we'll try to read the content from the file, but this is all about opening the file in read mode. If you open this file in the write mode, let's use this W. If you use this or if you open this file for writing means you will write some content in that file. In that case, even if the file is not there, even if the file is not there, there will be no error, absolutely no error, because this file is created or open for writing purpose. So if there is no file, it will create that file. So if I run this one, so now there is no error, and you can notice here at the left hand side one file is created, demo.txt is created. Previously it was not there, but as soon as I run this code, this file is created. So this is all about the writing case. I'll open this file in write mode. Now if let's say this is already created, now demo.txt is already there. Now if I again run this code for the second time, that means it is saying ki open demo.txt for writing. So will it raise error that there is already demo.txt, or will it work fine? So it will work fine because it is opening for writing purpose. Okay, this file is open for writing purpose. So if I hit run button again, no worries with that because already file is there, and you have opened this for the writing purpose. So absolutely no worries with that. Even if I use this append mode, and first of all, let's assume that there is already demo.txt file. So in that case, it will open demo.txt file for appending purpose, appending data. Now you'll ask, there are writing and appending. What's the difference between that? So we'll shortly discuss that also. But let's open this file, and everything will work fine, no errors right now. So this file is opened for appending purpose, for appending the data purpose. Now let's assume if previously there is no demo.txt, I will delete this one. So what will happen in that case? If I run this append.txt or this demo.txt in append mode, if I try to open that in append mode, what will happen? So in this case again, appending is some sort of writing the data in the file. So in this case also there will be no error, and it will create the file if the file is not previously there in the folder. So right now there is no demo.txt inside our folder, and we are trying to open demo.txt in append mode. So in that case definitely it will create this file. Okay, and if I hit run button, so after hitting this run button, automatically you can see here in the left side demo.txt is now created. So this how it will create the file in write mode as well as in the append mode. Now let's assume we operate this file in X mode. Now this is all about creating the file. We'll try to create this demo.txt using X mode. Now X mode is nothing but create mode. So if you try to run in this case, we will get the error. What's the error? Error number 17, file exist error. You can read that error. So file exist error. Now what is that error? We are trying to open this file in create mode. That means we want to create demo.txt file. So the purpose of using X mode is to create the file. But unfortunately, there is already a file by the name demo.txt. So you can't create that file. That's what it is saying. So in order to use this X mode, the basic requirement is that there should not be any file. Okay, this file should not be there. So I'll delete that file. And now if I try to operate this X mode, then in that case, it will create demo.txt. You can see here in the left hand side, I just deleted that file and now it is again created this file. And this will create a empty file. Okay, this will be completely empty file. So these are the different modes: read mode, write mode, append mode, create mode. So as far as the read mode is concerned, it will open file for reading. And if there is no such file or directory, in that case, it will immediately raise an error that the file is not available or not there or no such file or directory. Secondly, if I use this file in write mode, it will open file for writing purpose. And in that case, if there is no file present in our folder, it will create that file. In case of append mode, if you open that file in append mode, in that case, it will again create the file if there is no file, and it will open it for appending the data purpose. And in case of create mode, it will open file or it will create new file by some specified name. So whatever name you will provide, by that name it will open that particular file or create that particular file. And in case of create mode, if there is a file by the same name which you want to create, in that case it will raise the error that I am unable to create this file because it is already there. And in case of read mode, it will raise error if there is no file. So that is the difference between the read and create. But as far as the write and append mode are concerned, if there is no file, it will create file, and the purpose of these two mode is to write some data inside file. Now there is small difference between write and append. In case of write, it will overwrite the content of that file. So was previously there is some data in your file, and if you open file in write mode, it will delete previous data and it will add new data to that particular file. So it will overwrite the previously available content from that particular file. But if you open file in append mode, if you open your file in append mode, in that case it will keep your previous content and it will append the new content to your file at the end. Okay, so suppose previously there is, let's say, hello, welcome to Python programming, this is the statement or this is the line present there. Now if you write new content, if you want to write some new content to that file, let's say welcome. So in that case, if you use in write mode, previously written content will vanish, it will be deleted. But if you use it in append mode, it will simply append that data. So previous content will be still there and it will append welcome to that. So hello, welcome to Python programming, and again welcome will be at the end. So we'll discuss that, we'll demonstrate that thing step by step. But this is all about the modes, different modes. Additionally, there are two different modes as well, called T mode, which is nothing but the text mode. This is generally used for the text files. And then another mode is the B mode, which is generally used for the binary data. And as far as the binary data is concerned, for example, images. Now, images can be the binary one. So, these two modes are nothing but in what kind of file is that? Whether it is the text file or whether it is the binary file, that's what actually defined by these two file modes. As far as the T is concerned, this is text mode. So when I say text mode, so all the CSV files, Excel sheet, Word document, TXT file, that fall in the text mode. And as per the image and some binary data is concerned, some hexadecimal numbers are concerned, some hex files are concerned, that are binary, and the mode is B in that particular case. So again, this is default mode. This T is default mode. So if you do not specify this mode, this will be there. And again, here in this case, this is the default mode. So always remember, if you do not specify any mode, it will be a default mode. And you can specify these two modes like this: read and text mode. So open file for reading and in text mode condition. So in that case, if you run, it will be okay. So as these two modes are slightly different, this is all about the type of file, and this is all about for what purpose you are opening that file. So these four modes specify the purpose, and these two modes specify the type of file, which type of file you are going to handle in Python. Okay. And if you want to combine these two modes, you can use RB, RT, WT, WB, AT, AB, XT, XB, in that way, like this in this way, or in this fashion you can operate. But even if you do not specify RT like this, so by default it is RT, because the read mode is also default from this group, and T mode is also default from this particular group. So this is all about the different modes that we are supposed to use while handling the file. Now we are ready to handle our files. Now first of all, we have seen how to use the read mode, W mode, append mode, X mode, and T mode and B mode. So now we are ready to handle our files. Now very first thing that we are going to deal with is that how to read a content from previously made file. Now for example, I have this demo.txt file, and inside this particular file I am having some content, and I want to read the content from this particular file. So let's assume in this particular demo.txt file, let's say I have hello, then Python, okay, and let's say good morning, welcome. These are some dummy content, or I just putting some content over here. This content is there in this particular file, and this file I have manually created. Even you can create automatically also, but I'm right now, for the demonstration of reading, I'm creating this manually. Now this file is created, and now I want to read content from that particular file. Now in order to read the content from that particular file, you can use a basic function called read function. So let's read the content from that file. So how we can read that? So and print that content. So print, I'll use the print function, and inside print function I'll directly call f dot read. Okay. So what is this f? F is the file which or the file object we can say, which is created over here. Even if you do not specify this RT, that is RT only. So it's not needed to specify this, because by default there is RT, read and text mode. Now I'm printing f.read. So from this f, read all the content and print it out. So if I run here, it will read all the content. So here you can see hello Python, good morning, welcome. All the stuff from this particular file is now read, and now it is printed on the console. So this is how it will operate the read mode. Now, as far as this read function is concerned, now we can do some experimentation with this read function as well. You can specify how many characters you want from that file. Now, if you call f.read function, it will read the entire file, and it will copy, or it will just read the entire content from that file. And by print function, you can print all the content from that particular file. But this read, in this particular case, or as per as this read function is concerned, you can actually specify how much data you want to read, and according to that you can print that particular content. For example, I want to read only 10 characters. Okay, this represents number of characters you want to read. So for example, in this case I am saying I want to read only 10 different characters from this particular file. And then in that particular case it will read only 10 characters. Now in this case you can see this H is a character, E is a character. So right now, in as far as the hello is concerned, there are 5 characters and plus 5 more characters it will consider, and that many characters it's going to print it out. So let's run this one. Now you can see here, so these characters, so total 10 number of characters it has read from that file, and instead of printing hello Python good morning and everything, it had just printed hello pyth. Now you'll see this, as far as this hello is concerned, hello, that means total 5 characters, and this Python pyth, that means there are only 4 characters. So 5 plus 4, that means 9. So actually we have provided 10 numbers, but why it has printed only 9 characters? It's because of this slash n character, new line character. So at the end, after the hello there is new line, the new line is starting, so that new line is also treated as the character, and that's how it has printed only 9 characters and 10 characters including that new line character. Okay, so this is how it has printed. So this is how we can actually load a file, and we can create, or we can actually print the content from that file. Now there are two options as far as the read function is concerned. Number one, you can print the entire content from that file. And now actually you can print means you can load that content in some variable, and you can manipulate that variable, or you can operate on that variable. For example, I declare a variable called a equal to f dot read. So it will read all the content from that file, and it will assign as a string to that a variable, and then further we can have the string processing and all, uh, as we have already studied that stuff, and then we can actually process that content from that particular file. So that's the important technique or thing that we need to understand. Now next is, if your file, now in this particular case, we are having file in our folder. Now in this case you can clearly see that the file is in our folder. This is the file which is there in our folder. What if this particular file is not in the current folder, it is in some different folder? Let's say now I'll create one file in the D drive. Let's say in the D drive I'll create a new file, new text document, and this is test.txt, and inside that I am having this hello word stored. Now this is in D drive. Okay, and I am operating in this thing in some different folder, so this is in different folder. Now if I want to open the test.txt, in this case let's say test.txt, clearly it is not possible because this test.txt is not there. So if I try to run this one, it will surely raise an error that file not found, or test.txt is not there. So clearly we are getting that error. Now how to handle this thing? If my file is in some different directory, how to handle this thing? Now in that case you will have to provide complete path for this particular file. Now you can simply copy this path from here, that is D, and you can come over here and you can simply paste your path over here, and here you'll have to specify double slash. Okay, because the slash t is again the character, special character like slash n, it's a tab. So here you need to specify double slash, as you are loading from some different directory. So in this particular case, now you will be able to read that file, and you will be able to print the content of that file. So now in this case, hello is printed, and this hello was, or this particular test.txt was in the D folder or in the D drive. So that's the important thing, that you should specify the complete path, and keep in mind, as far as the path is concerned, it's a single slash, you have to provide the double slash in that particular case. Now, this is all about reading all the content as well as reading some part of from that particular file. As far as the reading part is concerned, we are reading small number of characters. Let's say 10 number of characters, 20 number of characters. Now we'll discuss some different function. Now again, I'm going to use this demo.txt only. Demo.txt. Instead of this read function, there is another function called read line function. as the name from the name itself, it is clear. The read line function will read a single line from our file. So if I try to read using this read line function, it will read a single line from our file. So if I run, it is printing only hello. Okay, it's only printing hello. As in my demo.txt, you'll find the first line is hello, second line is Python, and so on. So if I want to print the second line, then again I need to call f dot read line. So this is the line by line reading. Okay, this is line by line reading. So again, in that case, hello Python, it is printing. So this is line by line reading. So every time you will read a new line using this particular read line function. Now, if I want to read 10 number of lines, what I'll do, I'll call this app.readline function for 10 number of times. Or I can go with the for loop as well. I can use a for loop for 10 number of times and I can read that many number of lines. Or Python also provides you one more function called read lines s. Okay, this is the read lines function. So Python also provides you read lines function. In this case, it will read all the lines at once in one single go, and it will create a list of all these lines. So if I run this one, you will see here something interesting has happened. It has firstly printed, again, keep in mind square brackets. Now, square bracket is nothing but the list. Whenever something is written inside the square bracket inside the Python, that means it is list. And inside list, whatever we are writing, so using some comma separated values we have to put in the list. So we have seen that in while discussing the list data type in Python. So we have created list and every value was separated by comma. Now in this case, hello slash n comma Python slash n comma good morning slash n comma and then welcome. So all these stuff is separated by a comma. So that means the hello is one line, Python is one line, good morning is one line, and the welcome is another line. And of course, there is a slash n character in this particular case. So now, if you want to access single line from this, now what you can do, you can operate indexing for this one. As you know, the it is completely the indexing is supported to the list, and then you can extract one single line from that and further processing can be done on that particular line. So that's what we can do using the list. Now this is one method that you can go with, that actually you can go with this read lines and you can get the complete list inside a single variable, single list variable, and then you can provide some indexing and all those stuff. The Python also provides you some flexibility using the for loop, because we have a very powerful for loop. Now what we can do, we can operate for loop on this app. Okay, now this is the file object or the enter file. Now actually we can operate of something or the for loop on this f only. So for that you can write for and you create a variable. Mostly we have used x and something like variable, but I'll suggest always use the specific variable as per the application. So now I'm using line. Okay, line as a variable name. So line in f. F means this thing, this file object. And then print line. So it will print each and every line in this case. Okay. Now in this case, I'm using line as a loop counter or line as a variable. Now in this particular case, it will read the content from the file, and line by line, it will read line by line, or it will loop through all the lines on the in that particular file, and it will print every single line. In this case, it will print every single line. So now if I run this one, I'll get something interesting result. So this is how I'll get the hello, Python, good morning, and welcome. Such kind of results I'm getting over here. So this how I'll be getting the completely interesting results by printing this line by line. And actually, I can operate on this line. That means, for example, we have already seen that some Python. Sorry, as far as the string handling is concerned, like string dot upper heading dot lower, that method. So now I can make it upper and then I can print it out. So let's see what happens in this case. So now in this case, if I make it upper, now as I'm printing only line, so that's the problem. But instead I should print, or let me assign this one into line uh, 2 as a variable. I'm creating new variable and I'll print this line 2 variable. Now in this case you will see the completely different results. Now in this case everything is made in uppercase. Okay, so actually you can process that line. So a moral of the story, you can process that line. That's what I want to tell you, that after taking these lines you can do some whatever you want, you can do with that data, and then you can print the results after doing some operations. So now here we have converted this thing into the upper case. Now this is all about opening the file for reading purpose. So whatever we have discussed is for the reading purpose only. So we have opened the file in read mode or RT mode, or even if you do not specify any mode. Okay, the moral of the story, even if you do not specify anything, it is still RT. Again, the results are perfectly fine. Once you open the file, once you process the content from that file, at the end you will have to close, you must close the file. So in order to close that, there is function f dot close. Okay. So after calling this function, the file will be automatically closed, it is no longer open. So now in this case you can run this one, and now after this the file is closed. So by open function you will open that file, and there are various mode like read mode, write mode, append mode, and create mode. Now, by using the f.read, you can read content from that file. F.read can also be used to read a specific amount of content, let's say a 10 number of characters, 20 number of characters. You can specify as an argument to the read function. Then read line is one function which will read single line from that file. Read lines is a function which will read all the lines from that file and it will put inside a list. And you can also operate for loop over the file so that it will read or it will scan file line by line. So these things are very much important in the file handling as far as the reading is concerned. Now this is okay, it's all about reading. What if I want to write content inside the file? Now let's assume I am opening this demo.txt file and I want to write some content to that file. So if I write f dot write here and some content over here, so let's say I want to write some, let's say my content to this file. So it can be anything, it can be any variable, any value, whatever you want, you can write in that particular file. Now in this case, if you try to run this, it will raise an error. Why error? Okay, just quickly answer in the chat section why this is the error and how to correct this error. Just quickly answer in the chat section. This is raising an error. Correct, the sound has answered in correctly. We have open file in read mode. तो अभी जो फाइल हमने ओपन की है वो रीडिंग के लिए की है, राइटिंग के लिए नहीं है. And what we are trying to do, we are trying to write the content in that file. So that's the biggest problem. So in that case you should specify mode as W. Okay, now this will be a writing case, so now the file will be open for writing. Now let's see the previous content of this file. Now this is the content in this particular file. Now I am opening this file for the writing purpose, and now I am going to write this content in my file. Now let's see what happens after running this. No errors, that means absolutely working fine. But now you can see the status of this thing. Now the previous content is gone and there is new content, my content. So that's the case with the write function. So if you use this write W, if you open this in W mode, so this will delete the previous content from your file, and in that case it will write the new content to that file. So simply it will overwrite the previous content. So that's all about the writing. If I want that the previous content should not be deleted, In that case, you should open this in append mode. If you open this in append mode, it will add the new content. So this is my content, and instead of that, I just specify this is new content. Okay, this is new content, and I want to add this content to my file. So I want this new content to be appended at the end of this file. So the previous content, my content, should be there, and new content should be appended to this particular file. So this is what I'm expecting. So if I try to run this one, now in this case it has run and without any problem. So here you can see my content plus the new content is additionally added to your file. So that means this is appended. So that's the difference between this write and append mode. So this is all about the writing the file, creating the file, and appending the data to your file. And one more interesting thing, if this file does not exist, if it is not there, and you are trying to use this one, this code in append mode or in write mode, in this case it will create this file. So you can see here the demo.txt is now created. So this file is created if you create this in append mode or in the write mode. So that's the interesting funda, or the interesting thing that you should know. If you open file in write and append mode, if the file is not there, it will create that file, and if the file is previously there, no worries with that. And X mode is only used to create empty files. Okay, the X mode, which is create mode, it is used to create empty files only. There is no relation, or we are not using the X mode to write and append or read the data. It's only for creating the file. Okay, and if the file is there, then it will raise the error that the file is there, you can't create the same file again. Okay, now we'll see how to delete the file. If the file is already created, okay, now I want to delete my file. Now let's say this demo.txt is already there, and I want to delete this file from my folder. So in order to do that, you should import a library to delete that file. Import OS. Now OS stands for operating system. Again, you need not to install this library. You need not to create your own module or own library or own package for that. This is previously loaded library. As soon as you install Python in your computer, OS library will come up with that Python installation, and it is automatically installed. Now, in order to delete the file, let's say we'll call this os dot remove function, and then you will have to specify the path of that file. Now in our case it is simply demo.txt, and it will delete this particular file. Now firstly, let's try to delete that file, and after that we'll discuss what can be the error. Okay, so now it has deleted the file. Okay, now again if I try to run this code, because already the file has deleted, now in this case it will raise the error that you cannot delete this because this file is not there. Okay, so as per the os.remove function is concerned, it will delete the file if that file or the specified file is there, and it will raise the error if the file does not exist in that particular folder. Okay, so this is all about the creating the file, appending the data into the file, writing some content into the file, and also deleting the file. And we have seen sometimes we are getting the errors, sometimes we are not getting the errors, and once we are getting the error, the program is getting crashed. Okay, now what do you mean by program is getting crashed? So now I'll show you some example of that thing. Okay, how the program crashes when there is an error. Let's say a equal to 10, simple program I'm writing here, b equal to 20, and let's say here I'm writing print, uh, let's say any variable, let d, and here I'm printing c equals to a plus b, and print c. Now this is the program, which is very simple and straightforward program. We have discussed this thing only in the first class. Now a equal to 20, b equal to 20, and print d. Here something is going wrong, and then c equal to a plus b, and print c. Now if this line is not there, everything is fine. It is printing 30 as an output. Okay, everything is fine. But if this line is introduced, the program is getting crashed. It is getting crashed. So it is actually not doing the rest of the tab below this line. Nothing is happening. Okay. Now you'll see ki, if there is error, that means nothing has executed from this line as there is error. But that's not the case. कि यहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ तो एग्जीक्यूट होता ही है अगर एरर नहीं है तो लेट्स से यहाँ पे मैं प्रिंट करता हूँ प्रिंट हेलो एंड और दिस इज एडिशन प्रोग्राम मैं स्पेसिफिकली लिखता हूँ एडिशन कोड now you will see कि this line number 4 will be executed. Okay, addition code, it is printed, it is executed, but after this line as there is an error, this error has crashed the program. So entire program after that has been crashed, and after that nothing is executed. So this is what happens if there is error in the program. Okay, now my objective is that the program should not crash whenever there is error. It should handle the error on its own way. Okay, so program should not crash. Instead of that, it should handle that error and it should continue its execution after that. Okay, that's what we are expecting here. Now for that purpose, there is error handling in Python. So error handling is used in order to handle this kind of things. And for that purpose, there are different blocks that we use to deal with the error. And again I will specify what kind of things we are going to use firstly, and after that I'll show you. First one is try, second one is except, third one is else, and the last one is finally. Okay, so these things we are going to use. The first one is a try. So this try blocks lets you to test a block for errors. If there are errors, it will try to test that whether there are some errors. Now the except block will print, or it will let you know what kind of errors are there, or will help you to handle that error. Now try will check the error whether there is error or not. Except will handle that error whether there is error or not, and the else will be there if it will be executed whenever there is no error. If the try blocks fails to find any error, or if there is no error, then else wala part will be executed. And the finally is the statement which will execute regardless of there is error or not error. It will execute for sure. The finally will be executed for sure for 100%. Try will check the errors in that particular code. Except block will handle that errors. If there are errors, it will handle as per its own way. You can specify what to do if there is error. Else will be executed if there is no error. If the try block doesn't find an error, the else will be executed. And the finally will be executed even if the error is detected and even if the error is not detected. Okay, so that's the meaning of this all these blocks. And now we'll try to handle each and everything step by step. So now we'll discuss each and everything step by step. I think there was some connection error. So I'll reshare the screen. Okay, now it must be uh, visible. So the try block that I was discussing, which will check the error. If there are some errors, it will be tested or it will be checked by the try block. The except block will handle that error. If there are some errors, it will be handled by the except block. Else is the block which will execute when there is no error catched by the try block. If the try doesn't find any error, then the else wala block will be executed. And the finally is the block which will be executed even if there is error which is detected by the try block, or even if there is no error, then also the finally will be executed. तो ट्राई क्या करेगा, चेक करेगा कि उस वाले स्टेटमेंट के अंदर कुछ एरर है या नहीं. देन एक्सेप्ट ब्लॉक विल चेक और विच विल हेल्प यू टू हैंडल दैट एरर, कि उसको किस तरह से हैंडल करना, उसके लिए आप कुछ मैसेज प्रिंट कर सकते हो. एंड एल्स वाला जो पार्ट है वो एग्जीक्यूट करेगा तब जब there is no error in the code, and finally will be executed even if there is error and even if there is no error. So we'll try to test all this stuff one by one. Now first of all, let's apply the try statement. Now here you can write try, and this try, the purpose of try is to check whether there are some errors. So again you need to use this indentation wala term because this is the uh, statement which should belong to try, so you should give some indentation. Then this will check whether there is an error in the print d statement, and if there is some error, then the except block will execute. And here you can actually specify what to do with that error. If there is error, then you can specify here uh, something is wrong in the code. Okay, so this is what you want to specify, or you just want to say that something is wrong in your code. This is what you want to say. Okay. Now, in this particular case, the program will not crash. Okay. In this particular case, in previous case, it was getting crashed because there was error in the program and further execution was terminated. But in this particular case, we are handling that error as per our intention and as per our requirement. In this case, the program will not crash, but it will tell you कि something is wrong in your code with maybe with this print d statement, or something is wrong. So you can fix it out. If you want, you can fix it out that thing. And in that case, the further execution will continue. Now here in this case, you can see here the addition code, it is printed, which was before this one. But the print d is actually having the error, but it has not raised error like this name error or something like that, but it has printed only, or it has handled that error in a more mature way. Okay, something is wrong in that code, and again it has continued its execution and it has printed. So this is generally used for debugging purpose, and if you want your program should not get crashed whenever there is an error in your program, then you should use this try except all statement. Now the next thing that we should understand in this particular case is, if there is, now in this case I'm getting the error called name error, but in future there could be something different error, like maybe value error, or maybe file not exist error, or IO error, or maybe so many error. There are so many types of errors are there. Now you can actually have multiple except statements for multiple different conditions. Now for example, we see ki except name error. Firstly we'll check for the name error. If it is name error, now in this particular case it should not be in brackets, only name error. If it is name error, it should print over here um, there is name error. Or we can in simply the meaning of name error is where name error occurs whenever that particular name is not defined. Or we can simply write here there is name error, or you can specify any. If there is name error, if you want to mention some different print statement, you can mention there is name error in the code. The next is, or you can simply specify here that day is not defined also. And again, if you want another except statement, and this is for the value error, we want to check it for the value error, then here you can print there is value error in the code. Or you can specify any other statement for our understanding. And except the last one, which is default, print, you can write over here, and then you can print here uh, unknown error. Okay, this may be unknown error. Okay, got it. So if there is a name error, it will display name error is there. If there is a value error, it will should print value error is there. And if there is unknown error, which we actually don't know what is went wrong, in that case, it will print unknown error. So in this particular, there's clearly there is a name error. So it will print this is the name error. Okay. Otherwise, if there is value error, it should have printed this value error. Otherwise, it will print the unknown error. So in this case, it is showing there is name error in your code. So in this case, it is showing there is name error in your code. Now let's fix that error. So here we'll specify d equal to 15. Now in this case, there is no error in our program. Now d is 15, so it will try to handle this one, print d. And as there is no name error, no value error, no any other error is found, so this none of these statements should be executed. So if I try to run this one, now it is only printing addition, and the try statement is executed because there is no error here. So 15 is printed because the d is 15, and 30 is printed. But this there is no name error, there is value error or unknown error. This is not printed. Now, if I want to mention, or if I want to specify the user or tell the user that your program is okay, there is nothing wrong with this one, then I can use the else statement additionally. And in the else, you can specify that everything is fine, or whatever you want you can put, so that if there is no error, if the try statement fails to catch any error in your code, in that case the else wala statement will be executed, that everything is fine. Now if I try to run this one, everything is fine is now printed because the try statement doesn't find any kind of error. But if there is error, it will execute either this one or this one. So इसमें से कोई तो एक execute करेगा कि कौन सा भी ये multiple हमने यहाँ पे डाले. You can specify only one also. So many structure, just like if elip करके हमने बहुत सारा किया था last time in decision control statement. In the same way, you can go with this also. Okay, so that's the interesting thing about it. Now next is the finally statement. As far as the finally statement is concerned, if you consider the finally statement, so as far as the finally statement is concerned, this finally statement will be executed even if there is no error and even if there is error. So if I try to operate this finally statement, if I consider this finally statement, in that particular case, even if there is error, it will be executed. Even if there is no error, it will be executed. So sometimes we will require this one. So here I can say, let's say here will execute or always executes, or it will execute always. So even if there is error, it will be executed. And even if there is no error, it will be executed. Now we'll see okay, how it will execute even if there is no error. Now in this case, there is everything is fine, no error in the code. Still, if I try to run this one, now addition code, this one, it will execute always, and everything is fine, everything is executed. So this statement will execute even if there is error and even if there is no error. Okay, now let's try to put some error. In this case, instead of D, I try to print E. Now E is clearly not defined, so there is error. So in this case, addition code, there is name error in the code and it will execute always. So finally वाला जो है वो ये सारे try है, except है, else and finally. Now try will check error. If the error है या नहीं उसको check करेगा. Then accept will handle that error कि उसको क्या करना है. अगर वो error वहाँ पे है तो हम क्या करेंगे, हम क्या यूजर को मैसेज देना चाहते हैं. आई वांट टू गिव दैट दिस इज द सच काइंड ऑफ एरर इज देयर, तो वो हम कर सकते हैं. उसमें मल्टीपल एक्सेप्ट स्टेटमेंट लगा सकते हैं कि अगर ये एरर नहीं है तो क्या ये एरर है, क्या फिर क्या दूसरा कोई एरर है, सो दैट द यूजर विल गेट द क्लियर आइडिया अबाउट व्हाट इज गोइंग रॉन्ग विथ आवर प्रोग्राम. And thirdly, else wala part, if there is no error, everything is okay, some everything is perfectly working fine, then there is else wala statement which will be executed. And the finally will be executed irrespective of there is error no error, कुछ भी हो वो काम करेगा ही करेगा, उसका कोई लेन देन है नहीं कि वो किस तरह से काम करेगा. ना आप ये बोलोगे कि फाइनली की क्या जरूरत है, कि ये फाइनली जो है, इफ वो हमेशा एग्जीक्यूटिव होना है तो ये सब के बाद ये फाइनली लिखने से अच्छा है यू कैन एक्चुअली राइट लाइक दिस ऑल्सो ना. तो ये एग्जीक्यूट करना ही है इरेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ एरर हो ना हो. ठीक है, इन सम केसेस इट इज रिक्वायर्ड. ओके, तो नॉट ऑलवेज फाइनली की रिक्वायरमेंट हर एक केस में होगी या नहीं. जैसे हमने यहाँ पे देखा है कि ट्राई तो कंपलसरी है, एक्सेप्ट भी कंपलसरी है, वंस देयर इज एरर यू कैन हैंडल दैट, बट एल्स एंड फाइनली इज कंप्लीटली ऑप्शनल. एंड सेकेंडली, मल्टीपल एक्सेप्ट स्टेटमेंट भी आप ऑपरेट करवा सकते हो, यूज कर सकते हो, एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट यू कैन हैंडल द मल्टीपल एरर्स. नाउ विल सी कि व्हाई देयर इज नीड for the finally statement. So with the help of some one example, I'll try to demonstrate that one. So in this case, what I'll do, I'll try to correlate this one with the file handling one. So for example, I want to read this file f equal to open, and here I am specifying demo.txt. This file I want to read. Okay, so I can actually put the try statement on it to read whether the file is we are able to read this file. So this try and read this file. Okay, and if this is failed to read, then except print. Here I can say something is wrong. This kind of error I want to specify. Now clearly demo.txt is not there and I am operating this in a read mode, because if I do not specify any mode, that means it is in the read mode. So the the demo.txt is clearly not there in the folder, and I'm still trying to read it, open it in the reading mode. So clearly it will specify some error, and there is an error, but in this case the program will not get crash, it will just print this message. Now in this case something is wrong, has been printed, it's okay. Now if I want to write something, so let's create this file. Okay, or let's open this file in the read mode, and I want to write some content in that file. And if I fail to write the content in that file, if I fail to open that file, so in that case I can actually close that file also if I fail to write the content. Let's say again I'll try to, instead that I'll again use the try statement. Okay, and here I try to write f dot write something in that file, let's say hello. Okay. And for this I can give some exception. And here print we can write I can print here not able to write in file. Okay, so in this particular case I am opening the file in a try, and inside try in first try I am again putting some try statement in another or inside that. This is going to be a nested try statement. Now if I fail to open this file, if I fail to open this file, clearly this error will be displayed. Nothing is going to happen because this everything, this entire content is the part of this file. And at the very first line, if I am getting some error, it will skip everything and it will display this, or it will execute this except dollar statement, and will print this error. But if it opens this file and then it fails to write the file, okay, तो यहाँ पे ओपन करना एक अलग बात है और उस फाइल के अंदर राइट करना एक अलग बात है. तो अगर ये ओपन करता है फाइल को, तो यहाँ पे अगर कुछ एरर नहीं है, एंड देन वो जब राइटिंग करने की कोशिश हम कर रहे हैं उस फाइल के अंदर, तब जाके अगर कुछ एरर जनरेट होता है, तो ये वाला स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, दिस वाला स्टेटमेंट एग्जीक्यूट करेगा. तो अगर हम इसको रन करेंगे, you'll see that something is wrong, that means this is happening. But now what I'll do, I'll create a file manually. I'll create a file और उसका मैं नाम देता हूँ demo.txt. Okay, now this file is created. Now अभी in this particular case ये फाइल ओपन करने में कोई दिक्कत होनी नहीं चाहिए, बिकॉज फाइल इज देयर, वी आर ओपनिंग इन रीड मोड. तो रीड मोड के हिसाब से यहाँ पे कोई प्रॉब्लम तो होनी नहीं चाहिए. ओके, तो जब ये ओपन करेगा तब यहाँ तक तो एग्जीक्यूट करेगा प्रॉपरली, लेकिन इस वाले ट्राई के अंदर जब एंट्री हो जाएगी तब हम उसके अंदर राइट करना चाहते हैं. तो इन दैट केस इट विल फेल टू राइट. व्हाई इट विल फेल टू राइट? बिकॉज दिस फाइल, दिस डेमो वाला फाइल इज ओपन इन रीडिंग मोड. तो ये रीड मोड के अंदर ओपन हुआ है, तो राइट हम उसके अंदर नहीं कर सकते. यहाँ पे हमें राइट मोड स्पेसिफाई करना होगा. तो दैट्स द एरर. सो इट शुड डिस्प्ले दिस नॉट एबल टू राइट इन द file. So now here it is printing not able to write in the file. Okay, so that error is handled. Okay, this error is now handled. Now we'll say कि ठीक है, ये एग्जीक्यूट कर लिया, लेकिन यहाँ पे तो एरर था, तो ये वाला स्टेटमेंट क्यों एग्जीक्यूट नहीं किया? बिकॉज इसमें तो एरर है, इस ट्राई के अंदर एरर तो मिल चुका है ना. लेकिन आपको एक बात ध्यान में रखना होगा कि ट्राई के अंदर जो एरर मिला है वो भी ट्राई से हमने हैंडल किया है, उसको भी एरर हैंडलिंग लगाया है. सो वॉट एवर एरर वी आर गेटिंग हियर, दिस इज नॉट द एरर एक्चुअली. दिस वी आर हैंडलिंग, देयर इज एरर डेफिनेटली, बट दिस एरर इज हैंडल्ड बाय दिस एक्सेप्ट स्टेटमेंट. दैट्स हाउ इट इज प्रिंटिंग नॉट एबल टू राइट इन द फाइल. नाउ चाहे फाइल के अंदर हम राइट कर पाए या ना कर पाए, हमें उससे कोई लेन देन है नहीं. हमें उस फाइल को क्लोज करना ही है. तो फाइनली मुझे इस फाइल को क्लोज तो करना ही है, चाहे जो कुछ भी हो. हम उस फाइल के अंदर कुछ लिख पाए या ना लिख पाए, लेकिन अगर आपने फाइल यहाँ पे ओपन कर ली है सक्सेसफुली, तो आपको उसको क्लोज करना ही है. तो अगर आपको क्लोज करना है तो हम फाइनली लिखेंगे, चाहे हम उसके अंदर राइट करें. तो इन दैट केस ऑल्सो आई वॉन्ट टू क्लोज दैट फाइल, एंड इवन इफ आई डू नॉट राइट एनीथिंग इन दैट फाइल, देन ऑल्सो आई हैव टू क्लोज दैट फाइल. तो चाहे कुछ भी हो, मुझे वो फाइल को तो क्लोज करना ही है. उसके अंदर जब मैंने अगर ओपन किया तो मुझे क्लोज करना है. इवन इफ आई राइट द कंटेंट इन दैट फाइल, दैट्स ओके. नॉट राइटिंग द कंटेंट इन दैट फाइल, दैट्स ओके, बट आई नीड टू क्लोज दैट फाइल. So if I run this not able to write in the file, okay, I'm not able to write any content in that file. So here I'm not able to write anything, but still the file will be closed. Now if I open this in w mode, in that case, there will not be any error because this is open in the right case. So still this is going to be executed, and this I'm not able to write and all those things एग्जीक्यूट नहीं करेगा. इसके अंदर वो फाइल के अंदर लिख चुका है, ये स्पेसिफाई करने के लिए हम यहाँ पे एल्स डाल देते हैं. सो प्रिंट, यहाँ पे हम डिस्प्ले कर सकते हैं कि सक्सेसफुली रिटर्न कंटेंट इन द फाइल. ये मैसेज हम डिस्प्ले करेंगे. ये ऑप्शनल है, इफ यू वांट यू कैन use, otherwise not needed. Now here successfully written content in the file, and in that case there should be content in the file. So now we are getting hello inside this particular file. So this is how we can deal with the files in the Python. Okay, so this is how we can use the except statement, try statement, final statement, else wala statement in the file. So with this we have concluded with our first module of our internship, that is basic Python programming. Now in the next module, which is advanced Python programming, we are going to deal with the object-oriented programming in Python. There we are going to discuss the inheritance in Python, object classes in the Python, and also we are going to discuss about database handling. So we are going to use the SQLite database there, and we are going to put some data in the database, and also we are going to read data from the database. Also we are going to operate some queries in the database like searching and all. Also we are going to discuss how to send text SMS using Python. So in the next module actually, you will be able to send online text SMS to your mobile phone. And just like you create, the most of the companies send OTP, such kind of numbers, so we can actually create text SMS sending service. And even you can make a small project, a very small project you can create in that module, which will be sending text SMS or the bulk SMS. So if you're having some data in a list, so you will create a list of numbers, so many numbers, and in one single click you will be able to deliver that many text SMS to, let's say you have 10 different numbers of your 10 different friends. So in one single click you will be able to send a text SMS to 10 different friends. So that's what we're going to see. Again, we are going to see the sending email through the Python, for which we are going to use the Gmail servers. And in that case also, bulk emailing also you can create another project, small project, bulk emailing. And by using that, in one single click you will be able to send the emails to the multiple people in one single click. So that will be bulk emailing app or bulk emailing project. It will be a small project, mini project. And based on this thing, whatever we have seen up till now, so what you will create, you will create a package using Python. That package could be arithmetic, and inside that package you will create different modules like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, four different modules. And in four different module, in addition module, there could be a function called add, which will add two numbers. In multiplication, there will be a mul function which will going to do multiplication. So this is how you will create a package, and inside the package there will be different modules. Now you will create a main file. Now inside the main file you will have to load your package and all these functions which you will have to use. And here you will make a calculator. So what you will do, you will use a while loop, and then you will ask user to enter two different numbers, so num1 and num2. Then you will store those two numbers in two variables. Then you will display the menu to your user, and this is one for addition, two for subtraction, like this. So such kind of menu you will display. After that, user will pick some choice. Depending upon, you will perform addition, subtraction, or multiplication, division. At the end, you will have to ask user, enter your do you want to continue. Press 1 to continue, 0 to exit. If user chooses to continue or repeat, then again you should ask for two numbers. Then again you should display the menu, and again the entire process will repeat. So here you will use for loops, sorry, the while loops, looping structures. Here you will use the basic variables and the data types. Here you will use the concept of functions. Here you will use the concept of modules. And here again you are going to use the concept of packages. And at the end, decision control is also there, so repeating and everything is there. So in this case you are nearly going to use entire concept that we have learned in the module 1, basic Python programming. So once you will able to complete this project, that means, yeah, it is clear indication that you have understood the first module clearly. And this project you will submit. Okay, I haven't asked for the assignment, but this project you will have to submit. Either you can put that in a group, that as a rar file, you just put that thing in a group, you just send that thing in a group. Or you can personally mail to the Pallavi madam, so from which you have got the internship offer letter. You can reply to that mail only by mentioning subject project 1. Okay, or for module 1 project 1, something like that. You can mention project 1, you can specify there as a subject line, and you can mail to that mail address, individual mail. Do not put in the WhatsApp group, otherwise the other student can copy that thing, and I will not be able to judge whether everybody has completed that or not. You just personally mail to the Pallavi madam. and just mention subject project 1. That's it. Okay, so before we close today's session, we'll wait in the chat section for any doubts and queries. So you can, if you have any queries in the today's session, you can ask in the chat section now. Okay, so now you can ask some queries in the chat section if you have any queries or doubts. Okay, if you mail your previous assignment, that will also be great thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'll put all the assignment in the WhatsApp group along with the project. Okay. If you mail previous assignments also, that will be great thing. And also these things. Now the project will surely mail. But at least if you have completed the previous assignments also, you can mail that also in one single RAR file, project one, and inside that you can create two subfolders, project plus assignments, and you can mail that to Pillar Madam. Okay. And if you haven't done the previous assignment, then it's okay. You just complete the project at least, because if you complete the project, that means whatever we have discussed in the assignment, that everything will be completed over there. So just complete everything in that. Uh, okay, in calculator we have to perform plus, minus, multiplication, division, and model. That's the question. Okay, yeah, just at least four operations. But if you try multiple like floor division, exponential, square, cube, that will be again good thing. Okay, if you want to go further, then you can definitely go. But at least you go with four. Uh, Even if you do not mail screenshots of output, that's okay. Or otherwise, what I'll suggest, you create a folder called project one. Inside that, a folder called code. Another folder could be assignments, and another folder could be the results. Inside the result folder, you put just screenshots. Okay, so that will be well documented. And for the further projects which you are going to complete, you will follow the same structure. Yeah, okay, you can share notebook also. No worries with that. If you go with .py file, that's okay. If you are comfortable with the notebooks, then you can share notebooks also. But also have some experience with .py file, because the final projects will be in this way .py files only. Because we have to integrate that thing with our web application, as the 12th module is web application development. So there actually we are going to integrate everything.